A gang of migrant thugs attacked a politician in the street Sunday night after a riot broke out following the death of a 17-year-old who had fled police on a stolen scooter. Thibault Schaller, a city councillor in Lausanne, Switzerland, for the right-wing Liberal SVP party, was set upon after being recognised by youths of migrant background. They shouted fascist at him before dragging the man to the ground and stamping on him. The councillor managed to get away and took to X to demand Switzerland's streets be taken back from criminals, he said. Buses and trash cans set on fire in Lausanne in reaction to the death of the 17-year-old. Unaware of what it's about, I head to the scene. Some Antifa recognise me. 3 surround me, back against a wall, and they order me to leave. I refuse and ask what's happening. 1 pushes me. I push him back, then step back. Someone shouts something, and 10, 15 people come running at me from everywhere. I run away, take hits. They block my path. I fall, protect myself. I pick up while 1 or 2 people tell me to leave. I get up, run, get surrounded again against a wall. Then I manage to get away by running. I'm fine, but we really need to take back this city. Switzerland has until now avoided these kind of scenes, which have become more and more common in Britain, France, Germany and Sweden. Sunday's violence after the death of the 17-year-old boy was said to have been caused after he hit a speed bump at high speed, coming off the scooter. Youths in balaclavas set bins on fire and clashed with police. 7 were arrested. Monday night saw continued unrest. Thibault took again to X to point out there was no police presence when it all kicked off. Officers said that between 150 and 200 people set up roadblocks using containers and bins. At around 10:50 p.m, other youths set fire to containers and damaged a bus.
Coup de flashball, les gars.
They said rioters had been better prepared than the day before, forcing officers to fire 4 rubber bullets, use 54 tear gas canisters and deploy fire services to spray water to disperse the clashes. Order was restored around midnight. Law enforcement say they were pelted with stones, construction site barriers, mortars, Molotov cocktails and pyrotechnic devices. Tensions are mounting across the Central Europe region. Germany has faced the glare of the press over the last few days after an American model stepped in to protect 2 women from a pair of migrants attacking them, but sustained stab wounds to his face for doing so. The American model had been on holiday in the German city of Dresden and stepped in to stop the migrant harassing the woman.
If y'all didn't think that Europe had an immigration problem, especially Germany, let me drop some knowledge on you. It is 11:57 right now. In 3 minutes, that man that assaulted that young woman yesterday will be released from custody. He'll be released from custody because he's not a citizen of Germany. He's not a citizen of the EU for that matter. He doesn't even belong in here. He's an immigrant, an illegal one, a drug dealer, and very popularly known here, especially by the police. This is not the first time this has happened. It's not the first time that man had beat up women, and it's not the first time that the other guy decided to take a swing at my face with a 6-inch blade. If they could do this to the people of Germany and then just get released 12 hours later, even less at this point, where's the law? Where's the structure? If Germans are held to that law and that structure, but these people could just come in, swing knives, and hurt, abuse, terrorize, and oppress citizens of Germany, then what do we do?
John, the victim, had just completed paramedic training. His sister-in-law said online it was his passion for saving lives that led him to intervene. According to a GoFundMe set up for John's medical costs, 2 Syrian nationals were involved in the attack. 1 was arrested but released briefly after, and the other remains at large. The GoFundMe has raised $45,000 so far. The shocking scenes have grabbed the attention of US media, where the Trump administration had already been highly critical of Germany's asylum policies.
If you have a country like Germany, where you have another few million immigrants come in from countries that are totally culturally incompatible with Germany, then it doesn't matter what I think about Europe. Germany will have killed itself, and I hope they don't do that because I love Germany and I want Germany to thrive.
And a court in Austria has ruled that Sharia law is valid in private business contracts. One of the parties had taken the case to the court, pointing out Sharia's arbitrary nature. Often being subject to wildly differing interpretations by scholars, and its fundamental violation of Austrian law and its principles. But the court slapped the argument down, explicitly stating the Sharia agreement didn't contradict Austrian values, and ruled that Islamic legal provisions could, quote, be effectively agreed upon in an arbitration agreement. The decision prompted fury from the Conservative government. Claudia Placon, Minister for Europe, Integration and Family, said, "Sharia has nothing to do with Austria and the principles of our constitution, and it should remain that way. Therefore, we, as the federal government, decided back in May that the Ministry of Justice would develop proposals by the end of the year so that Sharia rules could no longer be applied in the future. Sharia rules do not belong in Austria." The ruling People's Party said this opens the door to even further political Islam. The ruling elevates parallel Islamic societies in Austria and weakens those forces that refuse to submit to Islam. This is the latest twist in Austria's checkered relationship with political Islam. The country was the first in Europe to recognise the religion with its 1912 Islam law. But changes to the law banning foreign funding for mosques led to a backlash from Muslims who said the state was spreading distrust of them. In 2017, the country banned the burqa. Parties on the right have been rising in Austria, fuelled by concern over immigration and Islamism. The right-wing Freedom Party won the last election, but Austria's president refused to allow his party to form a government. The party had promised a clampdown on immigration.
Das ist doch eine Selbstverständlichkeit, dass wir diejenigen, die hier kein Anrecht auf einen Schutz haben, dass wir diejenigen, die sich an unseren Frauen und unseren Mädchen vergreifen, dass wir diejenigen, die Menschen in diesem Land ermorden, dass wir die nicht noch verhätscheln und bei uns durchfüttern und dann unter einem Deckmantel der falschen Toleranz irgendwie über Jahre und Jahrzehnte bei uns im Land behalten. Nein, liebe Freunde, ein solches System schützt die Falschen. Ich möchte mit euch gemeinsam die Richtigen schützen und das ist die eigene Bevölkerung. Und deshalb Remigration für all diejenigen, die glauben, sich nicht an unsere Regeln halten zu müssen.
The ruling People's Party has hardened its own stance in response, with Claudia Placon vowing to ban the hijab for children under 14.
Das Kopftuch ist ein Zeichen der Unterdrückung. Mädchen werden da in einer ganz entscheidenden Phase, wo sich die Persönlichkeit entwickelt, wo sich der Körper entwickelt, hinter dem Kopftuch versteckt. Und diese extremistischen Tendenzen, gerade bei Kindern, haben einfach an unseren Schulen nichts verloren.
Britain is seeing its own growing concern over the role of Sharia courts in its society. Nicholas Dunning, GB News.